Today, I'm going over your fan predictions for NFL Week 3, and if you want to be part of this video, like and subscribe. I put a community post up every single week, so you can be a part of it. So, let's get straight into it. Starting with that the Rams are going to upset the Eagles, and I wouldn't even call it an upset at this point. I think the Rams are the better team, and I do think they are going to win this week. Yes, it's being played in Philly, but the two wins that the Eagles have had have not been very impressive. They hung close with the Cowboys, whose defense got absolutely rattled by Russell Wilson, and their win against the Chiefs wasn't very convincing considering all the injuries on KC, and the Eagles did not stand out in that game. Jalen Hurts did not play great. So yeah, I'm going to actually agree with this. I think the Rams are going to win this week, and I think it's going to be pretty handily as well. Next is that the Bengals and Vikings game is going to be game of the week, but in a trashy way. 70 plus points, 8 plus turnovers, 2 plus defensive scores, and the game ends with a lead-changing score inside of 30 seconds. That's a lot to put together, but I will agree with the statement that's going to be game of the week in a trashy way. I think it's very possible. I think both offenses are good enough to make it an interesting game. I'm just curious about how the Vikings defense is going to play because they're facing Jake Browning. The Vikings, relatively have a pretty solid defense. And I think if their secondary can hold up, it's not really going to be that kind of a trashy way. But the Bengals wide receiver room is so good that I don't think the Vikings secondary is going to be able to hold up. So with Carson Wentz and Jake Browning manning the helms with very weird teams and weird scenarios, I think that this game is going to be a weird one, and it's going to be a shootout for absolutely no reason. So yeah, I'm going to agree with this one. On the back of that one, next is that Carson Wentz will look amazing. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Carson Wentz looks good. The Bengals defense is not elite or good in any sort of form. And I feel like we have a habit now where these quarterbacks that didn't play good for a very long time, they go in, they back up, and for some reason they're elite for like 1 or 2 games, and then they fall off to what they used to be. And I think Carson Wentz is going to have that, especially with Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson. I mean, I think he's going to light up the Bengals defense for absolutely no reason. If he throws for 300 yards, I would not be surprised whatsoever. However, he probably will throw a couple weird and terrible interceptions because it's Carson Wentz. But yeah, I think he's going to look pretty good for absolutely no reason. And then the comments are going to start. Is Carson Wentz better than JJ McCarthy? We already know how that's going to go, but I agree with this one. Next is Packers and Browns will be pretty close. Browns defense is going to give the Packers trouble. I think it's going to be uncomfortably close too. Keep in mind I'm a Packers fan saying this, but I think it's going to be unreasonably close. Maybe even so low scoring that we start to have questions about the Packers offense, but they've been good lately. I think the Browns defense is good enough to give Jordan Love a bit of trouble. Usually the Packers are very good at neutralizing elite pass rushers like Myles Garrett, so we'll see how that plays out. Not having Zach Tom is kind of an issue, but I mean, in all fairness, I would not be surprised if this game is close for no reason. Do I think it's going to happen? Honestly, I don't think so. But at the same time, I would not be surprised whatsoever. I think the Packers defense is going to absolutely dominate Joe Flacco and make it impossible for their offense to get anything going. So, I don't know. I think that the Browns defense will give the Packers trouble, but I don't think it's going to be close because the Browns offense is so abysmal. So, I think I'm going to sell this one for the most part. Next is that 5 more quarterbacks get turf toe or oblique strains. That's just a weird one. That's a very weird prediction. I mean, that would make, 2 turf toe injuries so far with Purdy and Burrow? But if any more quarterbacks get hurt, this season is going to become a wreck very fast. But I'm going to sell this one. If everybody gets hurt, that would be very strange to happen. And, I'm not going to buy takes that plan on injuries. I kind of went over this in the last video, but I don't think this is going to actually happen. So I'm going to sell it. Next is that the Giants are going to win a shootout versus the Chiefs on Sunday night primetime. I don't think so. I think it's possible, but I don't think the Giants are good enough to beat the Chiefs just yet. Yes, they hung in with the Cowboys, but you have to remember that the Cowboys are a division rival. It's different when you're facing teams that, especially are in the opposite conference, that you don't see so often when you're seeing your division rival every 2 games every single year. I mean, you're not gonna... I don't think this is going to be a game where the Giants win the shootout. I think it could be a shootout. I think it could be a close game, but I just don't see the Chiefs dropping to 0-3. I would be pleasantly surprised if they do, especially to a team like the Giants. Not saying the Giants are bad. They played good football for the most part last game, but I don't think that the Chiefs can realistically drop to 0-3. I really see it outside of possibilities for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, so I'm not going to take this one. Next is that the Bills are going to light up the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football, and Mike McDaniel is fired the next day, and I think this is actually going to happen. I think McDaniel, if they lose this game, he is going to be fired. I think he should have been fired a long time ago, and I think the Bills are going to beat the living crap out of the Dolphins. Like, the Dolphins are purely dysfunctional. They played much better on Sunday this week, but, like, they're just, like, the team culture is so gone that I don't think they're going to be able to hang with a juggernaut like the Bills. I just don't see it happening. Like, the Jets played a good game offensively against the Steelers the week before they played the Bills and got killed. And the Dolphins kind of were in the same scenario with the Patriots. And I think the same thing is going to repeat just with the Dolphins this time. So, yeah, I think they're going to get killed, and I could see Mike McDaniel being fired on Friday, and I think he should be. So, yeah, I'm 100% buying this one. Next is that the Saints are a 7-win team, and it starts in week 3. Not happening. I'm so sorry, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Seattle looks like a pretty solid team, and they have to go into Seattle. Like, I just don't think that the Saints are going to have a chance. I don't think the Saints are going to win. I think they'll have a chance, and I think it's very possible they keep it a one-score game because they've been very solid at that these last 2 games. But I think Seattle has a much better put-together roster, defensive and offensive-wise, and I think that the Saints are going to continue to keep losing in these close games and eventually sneak one out, but I don't think the time is yet, and I don't see them finishing with 7 wins in the first place, so I'll be selling this one. Next is that the Chargers steamroll the Broncos and take a commanding divisional lead. I don't think they're necessarily going to steamroll them. I think it's going to be a shootout. The Broncos and Chargers are both pretty solid teams on paper. Yes, the Broncos had a shootout with the Colts, which the Colts are kind of a weird team right now. They killed the Dolphins, and they're playing the Titans this week. So I can't exactly get a read on them just yet, but I don't think it's going to be a steamroll. I think the Chargers will beat the Broncos this weekend. However, I don't think the Chargers are going to lay the smackdown on them. I think Justin Herbert may see a little bit of trouble this week, and the run game is going to be absolutely a disaster. It already is, and I think it's going to get worse. But these two defenses are very strong, and both offenses can make it work. So I think that this game is going to be close. I think the Chargers will take a commanding divisional lead, but I do not think they're going to steamroll the Broncos. So half sell, half buy. You get what my point is. Next is that the Lions-Ravens game is going to have 70-plus points and 600 yards of offense. I am 100% buying this. I think both teams are it's going to be punch for punch, slug for slug. This game is going to be one of the most entertaining games of the week. I am so excited for Monday night. I think that Lamar and Derrick Henry are going to put together career games. I think the Lions offense is going to just steamroll and beat down this Ravens defense. This game is going to be an absolute shootout. I think it's going to be one of the games of the year, and I could see a very similar situation to what the Bills and Ravens game looked like a couple of weeks ago. And with that game going like that, I think it's going to create a lot of questions with both teams asking what is the issue with their defense. If there is an issue, if they can stop good offenses, like this game is going to be awesome. 70-plus points, 600 yards of offense, 100% buying in. Next is the all primetime games are blowouts and suck. I'm disagreeing with this one. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the only one that's going to be a blowout is the Bills game because, I mean, those two teams are opposite sides of the spectrum here. I think the Ravens and Lions game, like I just talked about, is going to be a shootout. I think the Giants and Chiefs game is going to be relatively close for no reason. I just don't think that these games are going to be blowouts and they're going to suck. And even if they are blowouts, I think that some might not suck still because they're going to be such high-scoring games. So, yeah, I'm selling this one. Next up, we have the Cowboys will blow out the Bears in a 44-16 sum scoregami. I think the Cowboys are going to absolutely destroy the Bears this weekend. I think not having Jalen Johnson is going to create such issues for this Bears secondary, especially with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Tyreek Stevenson has to cover somebody, and it's going to be either George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb, and whoever else has the other, they're going to have trouble. So whatever they try and game plan against this Cowboys offense, I don't think it's going to work. And, I don't think the Bears are going to play like a terribly offensive game. I mean, the Cowboys defense really isn't that great. We kind of saw it against the Giants, but at the same time, they looked okay against the Eagles. It's just a weird scenario, but I think that the Cowboys are going to blow out the Bears. The Bears look dysfunctional. They look like they have nothing figured out, and Caleb Williams looks rough. And I think the Cowboys offense is going to be so electric that they're just going to get up early in the first half. They're going to have like a 20-plus point lead in the first half, and it's going to get uglier from there. So yeah, I'm buying this one. Next is that Jake Browning drops at least 30 on the Vikings. Bengals win by 20-plus. I don't know. I think Browning could drop a lot of points against the Vikings, but I don't think they're going to win by 20. I think that for some reason, Carson Wentz is going to have a good game against that awful Bengals defense. It's going to be a shootout either way. But win by 20, don't think so. If they put down 30 on the Vikings, I also wouldn't be shocked. So half selling, half buying this one. The only thing that does concern me a little bit is how the Bengals defense is. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and I don't know how Jake Browning would really adjust to that. So for now, I'll say that he will drop 30, but I don't think they win by 20. And finally, the Chiefs are going to go 0-3 and subsequent Russ MVP talks start. I don't think the Chiefs are going 0-3. It's like out of the realm of my mind right now that they go 0-3. I think they're too good of a team to go 0-3. They could go 0-3 and still make the playoffs because it's the Chiefs. But I don't think they're going to lose to the Giants. I think they could go into MetLife and be just fine. I think if they want to get their run game going, it could be possible against the Giants. But that's a big if. I'm still not sure about that. However, the Russ MVP talks is a little bit interesting. I don't think any MVP talks would start, but I think that the Russ is back talks would really start to heat up. They kind of started this week anyways, but I think they would really start to pick up. I think it's possible against this Chiefs defense. However, this Chiefs defense just shut down Jalen Hurts. So I don't think either of these is happening, and I'm going to have to sell both of them. So that's going to be all from me today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like if you want to be part of this next time. Monday will be hot takes, so keep an eye on the community page when that does happen. Tomorrow I'll be putting out my power rankings of all 32 teams, so stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Much love.